Hey everyone, this is Noobnut, or Noobnut125 if you want to be fancy. I guess this really is the first time ever that I have used my voice and associated it with any of my videos. Probably the first time, and if we're being honest about my upload habits and upload schedule, probably the last time. But, you know, I just finished the new episode of Fallout Season 2, Episode 2, and, well, in case you missed the whole intro part of this video, well, I liked it, and I wanted to talk about how much I liked it. So if any of you feel like listening, well, that's what I'm going to be doing for the next allotted period of time. Fair warning, this is not an analysis. I'm not really well trained in literary arts. This is just from a perspective of a person, in case, you know, people haven't noticed, happens to like Fallout, and so just wanted to share that with the world. So, yes, yeah, if you'd like to hear more of a guy talking through a shitty mic alone in a room, well, buckle up. Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. Yeah, this was a great opening. Overall, I quite liked how they seemingly expanded Shady Sands compared to how it was shown Season 1. I mean, before it was reduced to a crater. Maybe it was a budget issue, but it definitely felt to me that more care, or I guess money, you know, went into making this feel like an actual lived-in town and city. Like, definitely how they showed Maximus moving around at the very beginning, you know, showing all the stalls and vendors, how definitely the NCR, they have a foothold here, they have a presence here, a known presence, you know, seeing them marching around the town, all dressed, you know, Sunday best, you know, with actual full uniforms. They got the NCR Ranger marching along with him. It shows that this is a professional, powerful, well-fed fighting force. And I definitely hope that this isn't the only time we see the NCR actually portrayed as, you know, the nation state that it is. And I hope we can see that again later in the season, because I think that's one of my favorite things about Fallout, in that, yes, the world did end, but, you know, 250 years later, these nation-states are beginning to form again. Civilization is coming around again. Regardless, even though we already knew where this was going to end up, personally, I was surprised with how much I ended up liking Maximus's dad, and felt kinda actually bummed when he did die, when the bomb exploded. But, you know, this guy actually seemed like a pretty good dude, and, you know, now with his death, the wasteland is forever poorer because of it. You know, he was working on that water pump to help bring in fresh, non-irradiated water. Once the bomb is revealed, he immediately jumped into action to try to defuse it, and then, of course, when that failed, he did the only thing, you know, somebody could do in that situation, which is try to prioritize, you know, saving his own family. Speaking of the bomb, I do like the Vault Boy, you know, displayed on the Pip-Boy, because I find it amusing, you know, that in-universe, 250 years ago, you know, a random Vault Tech or Robco employee, whoever was designing it, probably went into work, and his boss would have had to sit him down and say, okay, Larry, today I need you to add an image of a Vault Boy holding a bomb. You know, I know that we're going into vaults, where everything's probably going to be closely monitored and maintained, but it is imperative that you add him holding this bomb. You know, and I don't mean, you know, like modern day, you know, mini nuke. I mean an old-timey cartoon cannonball with a lit wick. Go ahead and add it, and, you know, get it done before lunch today. Moving on to Lucy and the Ghoul, or Coop, or Cooper, whatever you want to call them. Again, I like what I have been seeing so far. I'm a sucker for buddy road trips. I'm a sucker for blatant fan service, and to be honest, Fallout has been giving me both in spades. Though I will say, at least when I have been watching their scenes together, oftentimes I find myself distracted, just trying to mentally place where they are on the map. I remember from the first episode, when they were at Novak, and then they went to the Starlight Drive-In. It must have been a different Starlight Drive-In, because just realizing, wait a minute, it seems like they're walking backwards. Whatever, not important. I definitely like that they've been putting in more of these original locations. So, I can at least make the argument, oh, it's, somewhere else, all along the way to Vegas. They just, didn't show it in the games. At least with their interactions so far, I mean, it's always amusing. I like their chemistry together. But it definitely felt a little bit of, like a retread of the Ghoul, going like, oh, kid, you're too naive. And then Lucy going, oh, well, you're just too mean. And then, I have a feeling eventually, the Ghoul will learn his lesson, and he's like, okay, you're right, I'll change now, maybe. Or, maybe I'll be less slightly mean. And then eventually Lucy will probably just go like, okie dokie. But, I don't care. I like tropes, especially when they're executed well, and in either case, I am excited to see where it will be. I will say, at least when they did go into the hospital to rescue the Legion slaves, they barely rescued them, I do wish the Ghoul kind of would have expressed a bit more, on his feelings about the Legion. I understand he had that, one throwaway line, and I also know it is to build suspense, build up this, oh, who is this mysterious faction, because there are people who haven't played Fallout before, but to me it's a bit of a personal thing, definitely because they showed the people trapped in the hospital were Legion slaves. I wish, Cooper maybe had like one or two more lines about it, as opposed to, going in and being like, oh, robes, we don't see robes, and then just slitting the dude's throat. That being said, the actual fight scene with the Rad Scorpions, that was pretty fantastic. And, what little they have shown of the Legion so far, definitely, again, similar to the NCR, the costume department is nailing the looks of this. And, at least moving forward, when they do the Lucy subplot now, with her time being with the Legion, I hope it's, revealed that the Legion is fragmented, because, well, fuck the Legion. But, yeah, overall, everything looks good. I'm excited to see where it leads. And fuck the Legion. That's all I have to say about that. And then there's Norm. I don't really have much to say about Norm. He seems like things are finally turning up for him. For as long as he's been trapped in Vault 31, he sunk all of his skill points into speech, and yeah, it worked out. He got them working together. And now he's on the surface. I do like, his whole reaction to it, like the whole, oh, it's beautiful, type thing. Kind of really gave me the flashbacks, right? You leave in Vault 101 for the first time, or, Doc Mitchell's house, right? That whole kind of like, oh, you're on the surface, oh, look, it's the wasteland, it's cool. The only question I have is when they finally all climbed to the surface, there were Vault 31 backpacks. And it looked like those had supplies in them. So, my question is, where the hell were they stored, and does this just mean Norm was not great at looking for them? Because it looks like they had survival supplies built into it. Whatever, not important. Not important. But yeah, good for Norm. He's doing great. Then of course we have the final McClane, that being Patriarch Hank, and he's been on his own journey of self-discovery, running his own mind-blowing experiments by himself. I like how he seems to just kind of be brute forcing everything. Like, I mean, his entire workflow just seems to be, wake up, drive down to cryo level, while he's going, playing with a yo-yo, grabs a single mouse, attaches that mind. Oh, I'm sorry. Drives back up, attaches the mind control thing, puts it into the box, ramps it up to 100. Head explodes. Then he has to probably spend however many hours cleaning up because you can see that splatter went everywhere. It'd go into the box, it'd go on his face. I can imagine it went on the floor too. Rinse, wash, and repeat. Drives back down, plays with Yo-Yo, grabs another mouse, blows it up, but this time, instead of cranking it to 100, he only cranked it to 99. Though, I suppose now he's moved on to people. But, to me, all I can think about is Voss from Far Cry and the whole, have I ever told you the definition of insanity? But at least Hank does it with a smile on his face, and he seems to be having a good time. So, as long as he's happy, I'm happy. And then finally, we have the Brotherhood and Maximus. I mean, talk about, in my opinion, a major improvement over Season 1. And don't get me wrong, I liked Maximus, and I did like the Brotherhood in Season 1, but I understood why people said, oh, I think this is the weakest part, of the season. But man, if that was just build up to what they're really trying to get accomplished now here in Season 2, I'm gonna start treating it like Dune 1 versus Dune Part 2, where I will now retroactively appreciate, what they showed us a lot earlier, seeing as this is gonna be the build-up. Yeah, I think the very fact that they're going into a bit more detail, showing how the West Coast Brotherhood seems to have kind of like balkanized, where, each different chapter is its own little feudal-run kingdom, and they all have their own, deficiencies associated with them. I really think it shows that, yeah, the Brotherhood is diseased. It's failing. You can see that with the majority of the types of knights that make up Maximus's chapter, right? The two guys just messing around with the grenade. If I'm being honest, I'm surprised they didn't show them blowing up. But, the fact that they are, doing these pit fights, not only in power armor, but literally bare knuckle brawling to the death, in front of the elders for amusement, I think really shows how far, these iterations of the Brotherhood have fallen, from, I guess, Codex or the whole ideals of the original founder, what he wanted to do. And so at this point, they're really nothing more than just glorified raiders in power armor. I mean, you see this when they move into Area 51, which also cool-ass scene, by the way. I found it funny, right? They open up the chest, and of course you see the Zayden, and they're like, oh, I don't give a shit about that. That's an icebox. Oh, awesome. They roll out the car, and let's see what this baby can do, and then just boom, they blow it up. Which I believe exists to further highlight, the differences between this now, Brotherhood in decline in the West compared to the new, rising, entrenched Commonwealth Brotherhood under Maxim. It's seen with, the introduction of Paladin Harkness at the end, when he comes in, with the vertibird, freshly groomed with the fresh haircut and the spiffy coat, which, if we're being honest, I'm glad they seem to have made it so that I'm assuming just high-ranking paladins get that coat, because if they didn't, then the canon ending they would have had to go with Fallout 4 is one with Max and dead, because I, like many other players, ended up killing Max just so I could grab that coat. It is a very, very, very nice coat. And so, yeah, that's about it. That about wraps it up. Those of you who listened, thank you. Those who just scrubbed through to the end, that's fine too, as long as you're happy. But yeah, those are my thoughts about the show. Loosely organized. Lots of filler words, lots of uhs. Yeah, maybe I'm just easily pleased. Maybe I'm just a chud who points at the screen, when Fallout thing is visible. But either way, I think I've rambled long enough now, so I should be going. If you need me, or you're just wondering where I am, to be honest, I'm probably playing half sword and getting stabbed.